This issue is very complex. We only have a few minutes here. But in a nutshell, we have enough evidence way beyond what they had for Monica Gate to open up a serious inquiry into a subject which has been the butt of many jokes and ridicule for over 50 years. Many of the military witnesses that have come forward in the Disclosure Project are people who said they never wanted to come forward because of the fear of ridicule from the media and from the powers that be, aside from the fact that some of them have been threatened with being erased. The reason this thing is still secret isn't because it's silly. It's because it's so profound. The implications of the fact that, number one, that these UFOs are real, which anyone with an IQ over mud can figure out. But number two, that, in fact, we not only have been in possession of materiel associated with these craft, but have figured out how they operate. If you go all the way back to the 1950s, early 50s, and look at the Walter, the memo from Canada, I don't know if you remember this, it's in the book, and it clearly states in this top secret memo that I understand got inadvertently declassified by the Canadian government. We have, at that time, in 1950, 51, 52, before we detonated the first hydrogen bomb, a project that was studying the, quote, modus operandi, the means of operating these so-called UFOs. And the project was so classified, Dr. Vannevar Bush and a team of his people were working on it, that it was restricted more than the development of the hydrogen bomb. And I'm quoting, paraphrasing from this document. This is an official document, undisputed. It's not one that has any question about its authenticity. Think about what that means. What it means is that since Eisenhower, there has not been an intact chain of command over this subject. And let me tell you how dangerous that is. You've got a kleptocracy. This is my ungenerous term for the folks controlling the secrecy on this issue. You have a kleptocracy that has arrogated to itself the right to not only know this information, but to withhold the technologies from the public, which, if they could be put into application for peaceful uses, would enable us to say adios to Saudi Arabian oil. It would enable us to completely end global warming, begin a new era in environmental sustainability, and would eliminate poverty within our lifetime, within 20 years. Totally eliminate poverty. That things have gotten so bad that we're at the point now where, with malice aforethought and utter greed and stupidity, information and technologies are being withheld from the public that are necessitating our cannibalization of Gaia, of Mother Earth. And this cannot continue. This has to end. So the Disclosure Project and a company that I put together called Space Energy Access Systems is working to get in the former, the information out to the public, and in the latter, to try to identify and bring out the technologies through a clean, non-black operation to the public. We do have a right to know this information, and we have a need to. And when I've been asked by, all kinds of powerful people, why is this really being kept secret? I said, well, there's a whole constellation of issues. But it really has to do about power and how the world runs. It's power. Now, people think it's money. Money, look, I need money because I have 4 daughters and I got to put them through college and this sort of thing. That's money. Power is something else. All right, when you start talking about a multi-trillion-dollar segment of the world's economy that is a centralized oil and electric grid and fossil fuels, and that is the engine that runs the entire economy. And this information about these things you see pictures of flying around the sky, if the information that we know is extant is released to the public, it will very quickly find its way into technological applications, which will also mean goodbye ExxonMobil, goodbye public utilities, we won't need them. Now you applaud. But how many of you have 401ks invested in some of these companies? My point is, you're dealing with something that would totally change the way the world runs. This has been going on for decades, and now the world is beginning to stew in its own juices environmentally. And the chickens, and this is 93, long before 2001 and the 9/11 event. And I said the chickens will come home to roost if we maintain this status quo where the zero-sum game of fossil fuels necessitates the impoverishment of at least 80% of the world's population. You think I'm kidding? CNN today reported China being industrialized, moving into the oil and commodities markets. If you think gas is expensive now, wait 5 or 10 years. You'll be lucky if you can buy it for $10 a gallon. It is a serious problem, and the only way to maintain the zero-sum game that we have of energy supplies is to keep this subject secret, make you people think that this is all hooey and nonsense, because the shills that are in the media who are on the payroll, like this, believe me, I know who they are, of these secret operations, will make this sound like so much nonsense when in reality they know it's true. This is the hottest subject there is. It is the crown jewel of the secret, shadowy government that Senator Inouye refers to in the Iran-Contra hearings when he says that, and when Eisenhower says, beware the military-industrial complex, he, a 5-star general and conservative Republican 2-term president. It's because they knew that there was a kleptocracy of corporate and financial interests that had infected or invaded like a cancer our body politic, our institutions, our media, to keep things secret that would upset the apple cart of who really runs the show. And you got a couple hundred interlocking big corporations and individuals involved with those who run the show. It is not the President of the United States, and it most certainly is not the Congress. And anyone who tells you otherwise is in a fairy tale. Doesn't happen. I think what was the prevailing sense was that here you had the President of the United States, his inner circle, a sitting CIA director, and some other folks that I'd gotten access to through just networking. And they were all being shut out of the truth, and they knew it. And what I discovered is that your rank has nothing to do with whether or not you're going to know about this. You think that because you got 4 stars on your lapel that you're going to automatically know about this. Not true. Because I've met with people who are at that level. I've briefed the head of intelligence for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, J2. I've briefed the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency extensively, 2 of them. The fact is, a lot of the people who you would think should know don't, and it's because they're protecting them. Now you're saying, what? What? What do you mean? You don't think they've whacked people knowing 1% of what I know? They have. And I'll tell you why. I'm a nobody, so it's okay that I know. Say I'm of no consequence. I'm really nobody. So if you're nobody, you can do these things. But if you're the President of the United States, like Jack Kennedy or Eisenhower, and you find out about this and you don't stick to the party line, there are consequences. Take my word for it, and I'm not a big conspiracy buff, but I can prove some of this. It's very dangerous. But in truth, because they want to keep this secret until the appointed time when they deem it proper to pull it out, which will probably be about the time both polar caps melt and we flip upside down, or some such foolishness. And the fact is, we have some folks who just cannot let this out, because it would completely upset the apple cart of the geopolitical power structure. And believe me, we still live on a plantation, and there are a handful of masters and a bunch of slaves. Or as Tom Bearden said, they be the wolf and you be the rabbit. Love him. Now, changing that is a Promethean task. It hasn't been easy. It's been mind-blowing. It's been interesting. The only reason I'm still in this effort at all is that I'm certain of what the truth is, and I'm certain of the implications of it being tremendous. We have the ability to transform this planet from the current state of massive poverty, environmental decay, non-sustainability into a rose garden. We can do it. We can do it in our lifetime. We're going to have to pull together to do it. We have the ability in our time, right now, to change that status quo, but it's going to take all of us doing a lot more than we've been doing. We're going to really have to put our shoulder to the wheel and pull together and do it.